right, here we are once again with Rules Cyclopedia. This is going to be a video you either love or hate. And I say that because it's combat basics. We're going to go through the base. Now, I don't know what it means to be basics in this, if it's just going to give an overview, and then we're going to find out more later, or if it's going to dive into everything, and this is going to be a 4-hour-long video, and Heathen Dog doesn't get to do a segment today. I'm not sure, but for this video, we're going to be covering Dungeons & Dragons, Rules Cyclopedia, Combat Basics, so let's take a look at it now. Excuse me. And, all right, 104. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Characters, okay. Yes, so this is going to be interesting here. This was actually a hard one. When I was looking at this book a couple of months ago, this caught me a little off guard, although it shouldn't have. Melee refers to hand-to-hand combat only. Now, sure. This game, when it says hand-to-hand, is combining what you would normally consider melee weapon and fisticuffs.
Both count.
Yes, both are hand-to-hand combat. Holding a sword is hand-to-hand combat in this game. Are we good? Thank you. I know a lot of modern games now like to separate those two, but here, hand-to-hand or melee are synonymous. Okay, order of combat. Many of the encounter results from the last chapter referred you to the combat sequence checklist. Yes, it did. Combat sequence checklist is... Okay, let's just take a look at it. Roll initiative. Each side rolls a d6. I miss those days. Now, don't get me wrong. I love, and I'm going to say this even louder, I love AD&D Second Edition's D10 plus speed factor or casting time initiative. I love it. We'll talk about that when Heathen Dog covers AD&D Second Edition at the time, but I absolutely love that concept. With that said, I also like the simplicity of just rolling a D6. Because this game doesn't have speed factor or casting time, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. Just roll a d6 and go. The side that won initiative acts first.
Sure.
Monsters and NPCs can make morale checks. It's optional, and this is when you'd make it. Movement. Characters who choose to move, do so now. By the way, notice that this is a phase. Morale. Characters. Doesn't say if your character chooses to move, do it, else move to missile combat. It says no. Characters who choose to move, do so now. So that's all the characters. You're doing this in like a phase.
Later.
Yeah.
There's no
like a phase system.
Yeah, you do it now.
So, Heathen Dog, do you want to move? Well, it's not my... Do you want to move? He figures that out now.
No.
Then we go to missile combat. Characters using missile and thrown weapons make their attacks. Their attacks. This is why I don't like singular they nonsense, because this is very clear here. Characters using missile and thrown weapons make their attacks. That's all of them that are shooting bows.
Or throwing knives or whatever, or rocks.
Correct. So if Heathen Dog got a better initiative than me, we don't go down this list 19 times. We go down the list. He chose to move. I chose to stay still. He moved. I stayed still. Then he's going to shoot a bow. I'm going to throw something. Well, he beat me in initiative. I think that's what I said anyway. So he shoots first, then I shoot second. Okay, after that, we go to magic. Characters using magic cast their spells. So if you're casting a spell and Jim Bob over there is casting a spell, you do it now. Both of you do it now. Just the person who won initiative does it first. You see how this is going here? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but this is one of those things that I get into arguments with people over, where they treat it more like, honestly, like the Palladium system, or more like a system where, okay, you want initiative, what is it you're doing? You want initiative, what is it you're doing? No, it's this phase system. Hyperborea has it. Now, it changes the order a little bit, but Hyperborea has it as well, and I absolutely love it. It works wonderfully and makes your weapon choice meaningful, not just your initiative roll. So they choose their targets. Targets roll saving throws. That means you're rolling it. So if you're doing melee combat and somebody casts a spell on you, hold person, because it's everybody's favorite, that magic user goes before you. And if you fail your save, guess what you're not getting? Your attack. Yeah, or to go. There you go. To go, right.
Plus, the magic user or the missile weapon user who successfully lands an attack on another missile weapon user or magic user, especially a magic user, could break their concentration. If you do enough damage, do they have that in here?
Yes, but here's my problem with it. Notice it doesn't say declare actions.
No, and I was gonna highlight this one that Ruana said again, they leave out, but it's implied, it's not implied, is that you should declare your intentions before initiative. No, this chart makes it so you don't have to.
Yeah, this is where I agree with Heathen Dog in terms of just reading the verbiage, but I like what Padar is saying.
And yeah, normally, yes. I would want people to declare their intentions at the beginning of the turn before the first person goes, just so everyone is on the same page. But in this instance, using this chart, that is an unnecessary complication.
Well, you're forgetting the caller, though. And while the caller is optional, it is written in the book.
Caller?
Yeah, the person. So and if you have a caller,
right, yes.
If you have everybody at the table, the caller actually tells the dungeon master what's going on. That still doesn't protect from this problem, though. I might tell the caller, hey, yes, I'm going to cast Magic Missile. And I roll a 6 for my initiative. I forget if high or low goes first in this. We'll find out in a moment. Actually, does it say it right here? The side that won initiative. It doesn't say here, so it'll be in the description. When do I start casting? Do I start casting when I declare it?
No, because there is no casting time, right?
No, stop interrupting. Let me get to the point first. Right. I hear what you're saying. Because there is the rule in the game that casters can be disrupted. That's an incoherence. This is why the dog's jumping in. Like, I get what he's saying because it doesn't say it here, and he's right if you just go by this. But then it says that casters can be interrupted, and they lose the spell. Remember, we covered that in spellcasting a couple weeks ago. That's where the incoherence comes in. I don't know. I mean, so this is what I would say. I don't care how Heathen Dog would rule it. I don't even care how I would rule it. I'm telling you, for your table, just be upfront about it at first. Hey, when the initiative is rolled, that's when your character starts casting, and if anything happens to you before this magic, you're going to lose your spell if you're hit. As long as everybody's okay with that, and the players can do that to the NPCs, that's not a problem. Flip side, hey, I'm just going strictly by the rules here, and by what I'm reading here, you start and end casting at phase 4.
Yep. That's how I would do it.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, and that's why. Can you put Peter's comment up again? Normally keep these to the end of the segment, but it's a good point. He says it's implied, and that's the unfortunate thing about this. This is one of those that actually happens at tables that causes grief. This should not be an implied. This should be explicit. And I would actually argue, in Heathen Dog's case, that it's explicit by omission.
Exactly. I mean, this is the Rules Cyclopedia. If it's not in here, it doesn't exist. Yeah. That's the implication of this book. So it's this chart is the one way or the highway type thing.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, I don't care what you do at your table. Just be upfront about it and make sure that it works.
Make sure everyone knows if you decide to use, implied or inferred in some of this stuff. Make sure everyone is on the same page.
All right, hand-to-hand combat goes last. Characters fighting hand-to-hand. Remember, what does this also include? Swords, pole arms, and axes. Yep, there you go. They choose their targets to make attack rolls and roll for damage. And then the second side goes. So this is side-based.
Yes, this is, side-based. Okay, so initiative is per group.
Do you remember when we talked about it before that there is the optional rule to have individual initiative?
Yeah, individual initiative is optional rule. Yes.
But the core rule is side-based.
Yes.
Not my favorite way of doing things. I don't hate it. It's just I prefer individual initiative. But using the Rules Cyclopedia construct here, by doing that makes this entire thing work.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit more difficult to implement it exactly as this is written if you don't do side-based. And if that's what you do, go for it. If I were to run Rules Cyclopedia, I would probably do side-based because a lot of stuff is incumbent upon it, and that optional rule does cause a bit of changes. But again, not my favorite style. I'd rather do second edition and individual initiative. All right. Anyway, the side that lost the initiative acts now performing the same 5 steps that we just talked about. And finally, special results. The DM announces any special results, any lingering effects that are happening, any gaseous forms that are going on, anything that you need to know before you go back and roll initiative for the next round. All right, let's Okay, we're up here. The 4 phases are, we got that. Special results. So we'll see what the rules actually say about special results. The DM determines all results, special actions, attempts to retreat, okay, offers to surrender, resolutions of special skills, etc. So what it is initiative, move, beat each other up. Okay, what's the result of that? You got beat up too much? Do you want to surrender? Now's the time to do it before somebody rolls initiative and clobbers you in the head again. The first action in combat round is to roll initiative. Initiative roll determines who goes first. All right, is it high or low? Dang it. The DM rolls 1d6 for the NPCs. One player rolls 1d6 for the player characters. Remember, there are no dexterity adjustments or so forth, at least that I remember. The side that rolls the highest number acts first. Okay, so it's high. Got it. Boom. In case of a tie, all actions this round is simultaneous. I love that. I love it. Yes, you can kill each other in the same round. You have to get doubles. Doubles 3 times, go to jail. But it can happen. And this is the only way. I know all the Palladium fans are always, they still to this day comment that I don't like simultaneous attacks in Palladium, except for if you tie an initiative. However, when initiative simultaneous steps order to combat, however, even when initiative is simultaneous, the steps of combat sequence occur in order.
That's when mages can be disrupted.
Okay,
both sides are going at the same time. You're at the same step. And I hit you with a magic missile before, at the same time you hit me with a magic missile. It's happening at the exact same moment. Do we both get hit? Do we both get disrupted? Did I get hit with a missile weapon in phase 3? And now I have a arrow coming out of my chest? Did that disrupt me? Again, using this chart as a game master, you got to be upfront how you use the chart.
Yeah.
Let everyone know how you're using it. And then you're gold. And then stick to that. And you're good.
Real quickly, Adam Meisner, this is Rules Cyclopedia for Dungeons and Dragons. So it's Rules Cyclopedia. It's came out in 1991. It's BECMI, so it's a basic expert. BEC companion master rules. Does have some immortal stuff in here as well, but it's done a little differently than the BECMI system did. But it's the Rules Cyclopedia for Dungeons and Dragons. All right, so the group that wins the initiative gets to act first. Got it. Note that the group that wins the initiative does not have to attack. Okay. The players and the DM should decide based on the circumstances whether the characters wish to talk, move around, run away, or attack. Likewise, the monsters will decide based on the situation they see and their ability to interpret it and their customary behavior. What they will do when they win initiative. Okay, so monsters should act. A good dungeon master should have the monsters act appropriately to the description and their attributes nature. And so, yeah. All right, initiative and multiple attacks. If a monster that wins initiative has more than one attack, it will get all of its attacks before the player characters can act. That makes sense. Heathen Dog, how do you handle it in 2nd edition with monster attacks?
I handle it the same way.
Do you? Okay. I actually add the speed factor of the weapon or the attack. And then
what's the speed factor of a natural weapon?
Depends on the size of the creature. Believe it or not, a punch is a 2 and a dagger is a 1. So a dagger is faster than a punch.
Which I don't understand, but okay.
Well, I guess it's giving a reach or something. I don't know. But it depends on the size of the creature. But that's what I'll do. I kind of go that kind of JRPG system where it's like, you just kind of keep tagging when you go. So yeah, you could have like 3 attacks every 2 rounds, and this will be your 2 attack round. And let's say you're using a longsword with a speed factor 5. You roll a 5, so you go on 10 and 15. That's how I would do it in 2nd edition. I would not do that here because it doesn't have that. What would I do here? Exactly what it says right there in the book. Take your 2 attacks.
Take them all. Take all your actions right now. Do it.
Yep. And I don't have a problem with either. I just kind of want to show that there can be differences. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking both attacks right now. Ties, if each side rolls the same number. Oh, this is going to be the fun one. If each side rolls the same number for initiative, then all the action happens at once. The actions are simultaneous and neither side wins initiative. Got it. In a round where things are happening simultaneously, every character and monster who chose to attack gets to roll all of his attacks. Just start dumping those dice out, folks.
Yep.
Even if one character's attack killed an opponent, the opponent gets to roll his attacks because they're taking place simultaneously. Characters who choose to run will do so. Another character chooses to attack the runner. He gets to make his attack. Okay, if the attack misses or fails to kill the runner gets his full movement.
Sure.
That's interesting. I actually prefer that to that stupid attack of opportunity crap.
Yeah.
Characters who choose to talk get a few words into what they meant to say before violence erupts. All the characters who decided to attack or run do so, and then the characters got it. And then it talks about individual initiative. I'm going to skip that. You got here. I'll put it on the screen there for you because that's the entire thing. If you can hopefully zoom in on that and read it. It's just we're gonna stick to the core rules unless I feel the optional rules are really necessary because this book is already long as it is. And let me check something out here. All right, we're going to page 108. We got a ways to go. Morale is also optional, but here's the thing. I'm not going to read the section, but I am going to read the chart. I think we've talked enough about morale for you to understand what it is. And really at this point, I'd say get the book if you're... But we do want to read a few things about morale. So a DM never needs to check morale for a creature with a morale score of 2 to 12. Why? Because you're rolling 2d6s. A score of 12 means the creature will always pursue combat and fight to the death. Notice that it says, look at that. The only creatures who will, with a big W, fight to the death are those with a score of 12. And guess what a 2 will always do?
Run away.
All right. Now, morale scores with 3 to 11. These will be the different times that you roll the morale check. And if you're really angry with me that I'm not covering this in depth, I apologize. I do like the morale system, but I don't know. I just don't feel. I think we've talked about it enough to give you the concept of how it works.
Yeah, I mean, if you are routing the enemy, I'm sorry, no. If you are decimating the enemy, and they lose a certain percentage of their people, they will have to roll a morale for this percentage, and then when it happens again, roll another morale check with minuses for this percentage, and then just run away because they also do not want to die, and they don't see a chance of winning.
So you roll 2d6, and you check over here, and if you get a 2, you're a coward. You're 12, suicidally. It even says suicidally brave or berserk.
Yeah,
there you go.
You will not run for any reason.
Normal is 8. I want to see the success failure section. Where's that? Adjustments to the fire. Oh, those are maneuvers. Combat. We'll have to get to those in a moment. All right, I'm not gonna. Dang it.
It doesn't matter.
All right. Yeah, we've read enough about what happens if you succeed, you attack. If you fail, you run away. It's pretty much that simple. And movement. We've already talked about movement a lot, but this will sum it up a little bit. Encounter speed, the monster may move his full encounter movement, which is 1/3 of your normal movement, 1 round. We discussed that, I think, last week.
Yes.
Running speed may move his full movement, running speed 3 times normal movement if he's not already engaged in combat, but cannot attack if he does so. So running speed means that you're basically sprinting.
Yeah.
And then normal speed is your normal speed. And then it talks about quick actions such as drawing a new weapon. Do not subtract from a character's movement score. I hate rules like that, but you know why they're in here. Some player or some game master is trying to make it more pedantic than it needed to be.
All right, and before we continue, we have a couple here. CPK said if it states an instant spell, no, and we're talking about interrupting the spell.
Yep.
Even during simultaneous whatever, if it's an instant spell, it would not be disrupted because it went off at the same time that he took damage. I get it. Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten through magic yet, so I don't remember.
We did magic weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, we did. That was like the 3rd or 4th video.
Did they say instant or?
I'd have to go back and take a look.
Yeah, if it says this is instant or whatever, and then yes, but if not, then well, no.
Range, duration, effect. Well, let's just look at the common one, like Magic Missile. Magic Missile is always a good one to start with. It's first level. Oh wait, am I in Cleric spells? Hold Portal, Detect Magic. Magic Missile. Okay. So duration is around, but that's glowing arrow created when shot, automatically hits, for 5 level experience. Maybe I have to look for a better one. The 6. Okay, that just protection from evil, the spell, invisible barrier, blah blah blah.
Yeah, there is no casting time in any of these spells.
Yeah,
there is no casting time, so that there is no such thing as an instant spell.
Unless it's written into those descriptions, but yeah.
Any spell seems to be any spell can be disrupted if you do it just right. €5. Thank you very much for Renee. Reason I say is implied is things like spell description, simultaneous action, retreat, withdrawal mechanics don't really make sense without declaration. They do make sense if you understand that this was meant to just keep combat moving. Keep it moving, keep it simple, stupid. Keep it going.
That's what the special results are for.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of those fit into that, but that's generally what it was saying for special results. That's where that would take place. I don't disagree with him. I get what he's going for.
Oh, no.
I would probably do everything that he's saying in the game. We're just taking it as the information's given to us here. Alrighty. Any final comments you want to do on that, or are we ready to go into combat maneuvers? All right, combat maneuvers. Oh, wait, this isn't spelled wrong. We're not Canadians.
Nope.
In the missile combat, magic, and hand-to-hand combat phases, characters choose maneuvers to perform. The combat maneuvers table. Oh, my God. We've been waiting for this forever, haven't we? It's been talking about this crap since we started character creation.
Chapter 1.
Yeah, right? The combat maneuvers table shows all normal combat maneuvers in order in which they occur within a combat round. Character can only perform one maneuver, or one of the maneuvers, per round unless he has multiple attack options. All right. Throw. Do you have any maneuvers?
No. I'm a thief. I don't have any combat maneuvers, especially at first level. So no.
Let's just read this cast spell one. Maybe there's something in here that will tip our hand on something. Character casts a spell from memory or scroll. Monster attacking with a magical power that doesn't qualify as a ranged damage attack or hand-to-hand attack, such as a vampire's charm, will use this maneuver in combat. Okay, still doesn't.
Okay. So that is an important distinction for the combat phases. Spell-like abilities go off at the phase of spells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, I was hoping. Oh, look at this. Even a nice chart for you.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
It tells you which phase it goes on. Look at that. Throwing missile phase, fire, missile phase, cast spell, magic phase, use magic item, magic phase, attack, hand-to-hand. Everything else is hand-to-hand phase. Okay.
We're going to be looking at the set spear versus charge and lance attack stuff because it kept coming up. Yeah, we'll probably just look at one of them, but it kept coming up, and they're limited to who can do them. Obviously, it's the fighter types, right? So we want to take a look at those, so we can finally say this is what it does. There's fighting withdrawal. I'm not going to read all the abilities. Retreat actually might be one worth reading. A character can only perform this maneuver when he begins his combat round in hand-to-hand combat with an enemy. So apparently you can't retreat if you're shooting an arrow at somebody or casting a spell at him. The character runs away from his enemy at greater than half his encounter speed up to his full encounter speed. We just read those a moment ago. He forfeits the armor class bonus of his shield, unless he's wearing it on his back, I guess. Yeah. Any enemy attacking him later in the combat round, that is either an enemy who followed him during the enemy's movement phase or an enemy attacking with a ranged weapon, receives a +2 attack roll bonus this round. That makes sense because you're not trying to defend, you're trying to GTFO. No.
Yep.
This is the same +2 the characters normally get for attacking from behind. Okay, so it doesn't stack with attacks from behind. This just is the attack from behind.
Right.
I'm good with that. If the character is not in hand-to-hand combat with his enemy when the movement phase comes up the next round, he can go to running speed the next round. So you're being a little cautious, maybe so you don't trip over your friends or something. I don't know. But if you get away this round, then you can sprint the round later. All right, lance attack. We'll look at this one because this one started in, oh my God, chapter 1. If a character is riding on a steed, such as a horse or griffin or
unicorn, Pegasus.
I just have the unicorn do it. What are you talking? I wouldn't be doing a lance attack. Just put your head down, buddy. And is using a lance. He can perform the lance attack maneuver. Oh, lance attack if his mount runs, flies, or swims. Oh, I can have a shark.
For 20 yards or more toward the target. Okay, so you have to have a run-up.
Well, yeah, you actually have to be charging. Yeah.
I understand, but I like that they wrote it. Like, I'm on a horse, I have a lance, I do my full power lance attack. dude, he's 2 feet away. Doesn't matter. Well, now it does.
The character gets his strength and magic adjustments to the attack roll and damage with the lance attack maneuver. The lance, if it hits, will inflict double damage with a successful hit. Roll the damage for the lance, multiply the result by 2, then apply all appropriate adjustments. Now, it's already told us this when we talked about equipment. I am so happy, though, that is written again here. I don't understand when people complain about rules being duplicated. This is a perfect place to duplicate a rule like this. It tells you exactly what the process is. Multiply the result by 2, then apply the adjustments. So the adjustments aren't multiplied along with it. Without enough room to charge, if the mount moves less than 20 yards or is stationary, the lance does normal damage only. Got
Makes
it.
sense.
Fighters, dwarves, and elves can use lance attack, but no other character classes can do so. If character has a multiple attack maneuver, he may choose the lance attack maneuver for any attack he makes in the round. Wow. However, he cannot hit the same target time. Okay, good. Okay, that's what I was confused about at first. Like, bah, hold on, bah. Like that seems like it kind of defeated the initial, like, you have to move 20 yards thing. So essentially, for lack of a better term, you're splitting movement here. 20 yards, I hit Ethan Dog. 20 more yards, I hit Max Liao. 20, as long as I have those attacks, right? He must choose a new target along his mount's line of movement for each attack, and therefore he must be capable of hitting each target with an attack roll of 2. What? I don't understand that last sentence.
I don't understand why they said it. Why it said attack roll of 2. That doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah, is somebody? There might be just something I'm missing off of the combat matrix that I'm just not thinking about right now. But if somebody want to put in the comment why we're retarded and don't understand what this last sentence means, I want to make a guess as to what I think it means. But if I'm totally off, I don't need even more comments. But go ahead and put in the comments what you think this means or what it really does mean. It seems to be weird. I think it has to do with the combat matrix, though. We're not going to read set spear versus charge. We read one of them. We get the idea of what these
parry, disarm, smash. Sure.
Well, I think we should look at parry because D&D doesn't tend to have a lot of parry.
It's right there.
I think it's interesting that it's in here. This is a fighter combat option maneuver, first available at 9th level to fighters and mystics. And at other experience points totals to demi-humans, but you have to check out their experience tables. With this maneuver, the fighter does not make any attack roll. Instead, he blocks incoming attacks from the entire combat round. All enemies attacking him suffer a -4 penalty to hit with melee and thrown, but not missile weapons. Okay. No. What's interesting about this, I personally prefer games that have an action-reaction system, so you can, like Palladium, so where you can declare a parry or not. Or Free League. Free League does it as well. I prefer those systems. But I think this is for this type of game, for a Dungeons & Dragons style game, I think this makes sense. I mean, -4 is a pretty big bonus. But you have to give up your attack to do it. So. All right, and then we have some more good examples there. Attack roll tables. Okay. Do I want to read this? Well, let's just read this. Attack roll checklist. Attacker looks at the attack rolls table. Oh, that's the combat matrix. I'm sorry, it's called the attack roll table in this one. I'm used to calling it combat matrix. That's my bad. Looks at the attack roll table and finds the armor class of his target, the number given on the table. I don't want to read this chart. I can visualize this better in my head. Long story short, I think we already talked about this when we did the combat table in one of the first videos. If the attack roll says that based on his armor class that you need a 15 or better to hit, that's really what it comes down to. If you roll a 15 or better, you hit. If you try and do the math on it like a THAC0 thing, so THAC0 minus die roll equals armor class hit. So if your THAC0, which by the way, Rules Cyclopedia uses that term also. So if your THAC0 is 10 and you roll a 15, THAC0 minus die roll equals armor class hit. 10 minus 15 equals -5. You hit an armor class of -5. Then it's up to the game master to say if you hit it or not. Technically speaking,
this whole checklist is okay. Find your attack roll table. Find where you are. Put in all your pluses to hit, and then the victim puts in all of his modifiers to not be hit, and then you roll.
The weird thing is we did all those modifiers before looking at the chart. That's why this stuff sometimes throws me off, because I understand what it's going for here, and this is a very simplistic way of doing it. Maybe even an easier way. I'm just used to figuring in all those bonuses for my attack and all the negatives. So if his armor class is 3, but he's got +2 spell on him, I'm already thinking that armor class is -1. Or, sorry, armor class is 1. Right? I'm not thinking of it as like it's 3. Now let me go to the chart. Okay, let's minus by 2. That's just the way I think about it. So maybe I'm thinking about it backward. So this chart kind of confuses me where it or table confuses me where it shouldn't. But it does tell you everything to add in here. Strength modifiers, dexterity modifiers, magic bonuses, like he said, subtract the penalties and so forth. I'm just so used to adding that in that I think reading this would make my brain hurt. But what's great about Rules Cyclopedia, more so BECME than Rules Cyclopedia itself, which it's based on BECME, is it teaches you how to play. And this table, if you've never played before, just follow it. It teaches you how to play. All right. Oh, here we go. Let's, is it 3? It's 3, 2, 3. There we go. And this is, we already showed this in one of the previous videos, but this is what we were talking about. So if you are a fighter, that's the F column here. Hopefully you can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit. I just won't go to the end. So if you're a fighter, you're a first level fighter. So you're this second row here. And you've got, we'll just say a THAC0 of 19. I'm sorry, that's the armor class. My bad. I don't even, I got to get that THAC0 thing out of my head. This is what the chart's for. You're hitting somebody wearing, I forget how this game works, so we're just going to say he's wearing no armor. So if you remember, that's armor class 9.
Right.
I forget what all the other ones are, because I know the second edition ones. I don't know the basic ones.
10. So
you need to roll a 10 or better. Why? Because you're a fighter of 1st through 3rd level. That is correct. For you people that are used to this going up every level, no, doesn't.
Chunks.
Goes up, yeah, exactly, in chunks. So if you're a first, or even if you're a 3rd level fighter, and you're hitting somebody with an armor class of 9, you need to roll a 10 or better to hit them. If you roll a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you get the idea. Now, let's say you get a +2 to your roll. Well, means you have to roll an 8 or better. I don't like saying it that way, because I've just, in my life, I found that confuses people. What did you roll? I rolled an 8. Okay, add your +2. You got a 10. Got it. Okay. I like to do a lot of that stuff after the fact. You need a 10 or higher, roll the die. Okay, now add your +2 to it. Your table may vary. I don't know how Heathen Dog does it at his table. That's just how I do it at mine. I'm just used to doing all the math, the preliminary math up front, and then all the stuff that affects the die roll after the roll is made. Just, in my experience, it makes things easier. But there you go. But that's all it is. And if a person's wearing some armor, and for whatever reason, you're a 16th level fighter, so here you are. Or a demi-human with, was it class G fighting ability or whatever it's called? All right. Armor class is 3. Well, this guy's wearing some plate mail or something. You need to roll a 6 or better. And that's it. But I get a +2 to my roll. Great, roll your die. Hey, Heathen Dog, can you roll a d20 for me? If you have one near you.
I do. 8.
You got an 8. Well, you have a +2 because you have a +2 magic weapon. You actually rolled a 10. So either way, you hit the guy.
Yeah.
There you
Suck
go.
It, jump.
Suck it, jump. There you go. All right. And then we got more attack rolls for monsters and so forth. Don't be intimidated by this chart. We showed you in one of the first couple of videos. I don't remember which one it was. Somewhere video 1, 2, or 3. We showed you that you can put it on your character sheet. What most people will do will just put this information, the one row that you need, on your character sheet so you don't have all the other stuff to worry about. The Dungeon Master can worry about all this other stuff. You just put that one row you need on your sheet. You'll be fine. It is really simple. In fact, by putting it on your character sheet, you just made your life and the Dungeon Master's life a lot easier. Don't even have to do math then. All right. Okay, Missile Combat is next week, if I remember correctly. So we got one thing left to do. We're going to talk about THAC0. Actually, we're not. I just don't think it's important. I'm a THAC0
we already
guy.
have the Matrix. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love THAC0. It helps you do math. The reason why it's a little different here than second edition, where THAC0 is just like the mainstay, is because if you remember, some of these numbers get really weird. Like you have 4 levels in a row that are 5 levels in a row. That's 30. Mm-hmm. Well, that wouldn't be based on THAC0 math then, right? Because it would have to go down every single time. Yep. So ultimately, THAC0 just means you can do math instead of looking at the chart, but the chart just makes your life easy, guys. And it even gives you an example here. And gives you a couple modifiers. What's really cool about Basic is you don't have 95,000 modifiers. You just have a couple. Your Dungeon Master can always add more modifiers if he feels it's appropriate. And you shouldn't complain about it, as long as you're getting the same benefit and penalties. The NPCs and the PCs should get the same stuff. But with that said, attacking from behind is a +2 bonus. That's to the roll. That's after you've made the roll. Add the +2, and you ignore a shield. So that could actually change his armor class and make it higher. Remember, high armor class is bad. Attacker can't see the target, -4. Larger than man-sized monsters attacking halflings because they're, skittish. They're like little squirrels. The target is exhausted. And the attacker is exhausted.
Yeah, can't move properly. Yep.
And there you go. It talks about getting exhausted, but we've already talked about that. Next week, we will be talking about missile. Oh God, we have a lot of stuff to talk about next week. This is because it's quick. We've got 3 videos. I'm going to be doing 3 videos next week: missile combat, hand-to-hand combat, and other combat, which includes naval combat. It's actually not a lot of pages. Okay. Naval combat, aerial combat, and so forth. So that's going to be next week. So we'll be finishing up combat next week. The second video will be the longest one, apparently, because it's 4 pages. All the other ones are just a page or 2. So, all right, what comments do we have for folks, or from folks?
Let's see. Oh, excuse me. Not really anything. I mean, we're talking about stuff that was already spoken about, like melee combat strength matters to hit, but with thrown or missile weapons, it's dex. That's true. And then they're talking about something that I want to get into next week when you do missile combat.
Okay.
Is it probably won't do this because it's basic D&D. It won't do this, but in all of my D&D campaigns, if you have a bow that is specially strung for you and you have exceptional strength, you will get bonus to damage for that exceptional strength in your missile weapons. If I'm running the game.
I thought we saw that. I thought when we did equipment, let me go back.
I thought it didn't have that.
You might be right. Again, I have so many editions of D&D running around my head that I don't remember. And this is not one that I've run. Let me check here real quick. Okay, so there's money, ammunition, bows. AM2HM. Oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot about all that.
Forgot about
the weapon's normal load of ammunition is already included in encumbrance. Okay. M, missile weapon never uses a melee weapon. Got it. Two-handed. Oh, you might be right.
Yeah, it doesn't do that. But I always do that because not only will an archer keep better care of his bow if he knows he just can't go to town and replace it. It has to be properly strung for him to get that damage bonus because of his exceptional strength. But he's also going to feel better about having that bow. I mean, he's got to pay extra money for it to have it strung to his strength. It's going to do something for that.
I think that any dungeon master that adds house rules like that, again, as long as it's consistent, I'm always consistent and makes sense. I am always for that. Now, some people
in movies, you sometimes come across this like giant like ogre or orc or whatever, and he's got this bow that's like 8 feet tall. When he pulls it back, it feels like he's stretching the world, and when he lets it go, the sound it makes is like a thoof, like that. And when it hits an opponent, it actually takes him off his feet. We've all seen movies that do that. That is extra damage due to the bow being strung for that giant strength. So I always do that because not only is it cool cinematic wise, but mechanics wise, it does make sense.
Yeah, so this one right here, I absolutely get this. I don't know, just the way that sentence was written, if this is what it meant, it was a useless sentence because that was already in the game. It's just the way, I think the issue I'm having is that sentence seems to imply something outside the norm. But yes, this is, and I actually like this rule as well. It always gives you a chance to miss and always gives you a chance to hit. I like it. But if that's what it was meaning on there, it just sounded silly to me. But
yeah, oh yeah, and then there's this one. In the story of Odysseus, no one could string his bow because no one was that strong as him.
Not even Atlas?
Well, Atlas was busy.
He was busy holding up the planet?
He was busy holding up the planet, so he didn't have time to go string a bow, right? But for a normal mortal type thing, he had 1800 strength and no one else did. So he's the only one who could string his bow. That means he's the only one who could properly pull it back. And so he's the only one who could get the full power of that bow. And I personally use that as bonuses to hit based on your, but bonuses to damage based on your strength. That's just what I do.
I don't like, and I know somebody's going to argue in the comments for this, I don't like giving bonuses to hit based on strength. I get the concept of it. You're breaking through the armor. You're getting through some of it that will deflect. I understand that, but what that ends up happening though is that ends up having duplication of effort, and I don't like duplicating both your dex and your strength to give you a bonus to hit. So if you're going to get your dex as a bonus to hit, or you know what I could do? Choose. Do you want your strength or do you want your dex? Maybe, but
yeah, for mine, it's only strength with missile weapons. If your weapon is properly strength to your,
you said damage, not to hit.
Yeah, it's only for damage.
Yeah, no, that
makes
makes sense.
Is dex.
Yeah,
for all missile weapons, to hit is dex. But if you have a weapon that is for your strength, you can put your strength damage bonus in there as well.
I've seen people argue though that it penetrates more, breaks through the armor. Shut up. Stop trying to overcomplicate the game.
No, that also can sound like that's just more damage.
All right, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Keep a little thingy up here. Boom. All right, well, thank you very much. I don't know, combat seemed, except for one sentence in there, combat seemed pretty normal to Dungeons & Dragons. I like it. I think it's an easy system for you to use. If you're looking for way more nuance or something that your other favorite game does or whatever, I would say play those games or just try to figure out a way to house rule it. But so far, there's a lot of consistency in Rules Cyclopedia. And while there's some things that we can quibble about, and we have quibbled about, like the weapon mastery, we think that that could have been implemented differently. All told, I think that this is a solid book so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing on reading it, finding out more about aerial combat. This is another great thing about the book. It doesn't just tell you how to do basic stuff. Now we're going to get into aerial combat, magic combat, and with naval combat and so forth. Other things that, hey, you're playing a fantasy game, you're going to actually have. And we'll start talking about that, well, next week or in the next video.